We are back, baby. We are fucking back. We are back. Yeah. Classic. We are back. We are back. We are getting Doug back.
I thought that was you. I'm like, why does it sound like you're talking through a can?
We are back.
Like a nice new can that you got there. Yeah,
I
hangover.
was
Nice.
us on the show, baby. I mean, crypto.
Hangover.
Blockchain technology backed by worthless tokens. Yeah, baby.
Oh, God. We want to talk about a hangover. Let's talk about yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Uncle R2 was having a couch day, that's for sure. Ordered my Uber Eats to McDonald's at like 1 p.m.
Got to soak up all the fun from the night before. It's what McDonald's is good at.
Well, I mean, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You do pay for it the next day, but that's okay. You know what? I'm kind of over exaggerating. My hangovers really aren't the worst. But it's fun to be dramatic about it, you know?
Yes, when I imbibe alcohol at the end of the night, I like to have an okonomiyaki, which is a Japanese omelet covered in mayonnaise and barbecue sauce. Sounds weird.
What? At the end of the night? Like you make this at night?
I don't make this. You gotta find the okonomiyaki spot because you gotta shave.
How late are these places open?
I mean, it's New York. Places are open late.
I just thought maybe you were just calling it a night by 8 o'clock.
There's a place in our neighborhood that makes them too. It's hard to find good ones, but they're there. Oh, they're there.
I mean, I don't know that I'd be able to find one here, but you'll have to DM me exactly what it's called and I'll search it up. Phone call.
No, I was DMing you.
That's your
when I DM, yeah.
When you an outgoing DM? My God.
Yeah, I've programmed my computer to make that sound when I do it. What? It brings
GM,
levity
boy.
to my life. I'm
Stay off my
smiling.
back, bro.
Okay.
That would be a level worse than people who actually leave their Discord notifications on. The sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time that a message gets sent in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when Cass used to come on the show and he'd just have his Discord DMs? It was like every 1/8 of a second. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those Discord DMs are less frequent now.
What's that?
I said the Discord DMs are less frequent now. Everyone's gone, and that's a good thing because they're out making the money that you're going to siphon off when they come back. So everyone's sitting here. You're waiting. Everyone out there with real jobs, they're going to building up their sale. Oh, I'm never touching that crypto again. Oh, those stupid. Oh, those NFTs. And it's going to start. And the ball starts.
Hey, they all come crawling back.
All be rolling. It's rolling right now. And they're looking, they go, scam pump, bear market rally, bull trap. They're all looking right now. And on February 6th, when everything reverses for a couple, we're about, you fucking idiot. We told you. Then by June, as they have watched seething from the sidelines as Bitcoin 25,000, 28,000, 30,000, 32,000, 35, then at 40,000, they're going, oh my fucking God, it's going back to all time highs. They're going to ape. And in 3 days, they'll be up 5%. It'll be 42K. They're going to be fucking kings. We're back. They just turned their 10 grand into 11 grand. They're back. And then guess what, everybody? Guess what? They are not back. They're not back. They are They are once again buying the local top. And then by seasonality's wind and the lowly, scary Halloween dominant month of October, we will be back at 20K Bitcoin. People will be calling for under 10K. See, this was the recession we talked about. Bunch of dumb shit. Same dumb shit you'll hear at 42K, just in reverse. That's when you'll be buying. That'll be the last time you ever have the opportunity to buy Bitcoin, which was created by a group of people that call themselves Satoshi, at around $20,000.
Are you on the group of people train for Satoshi?
I always assumed it was. I didn't even think it was.
No, I mean, that is one of the theories. It is. I don't think that is true, though. But yeah.
It was just like one guy.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do believe that. I think that I think that a lot of like the credible signs point to it just being one person, typically on the way that they interacted, how consistent they were with interacting, and I mean, it could have just been one person doing it, but yeah, I don't know. I do believe that it was one individual.
Nice. Well,
I think that a group of people had a large part in the ideology behind it and the development and working it out like collectively, but I do think that there was just one Satoshi.
Well, that little program that Satoshi made and deployed is set for a halvening this year, as we know. I do believe we will be close to 40K around that halvening.
Yeah, I mean, the halvening's always a bullish moment. What's that?
FET is ramping. I was sitting there looking at it this morning like a fucking chump. Oh, what am I looking at?
And the YouTube algo is going to be kicking our ass today.
You know, guys. Oh yeah, they downgrade you for cursing. Mr.
Yes.
Beast says bad words.
They normally beep it out though.
Right. He seems to have a large following, Mr. Beast.
Yeah, there's something about the other thing is too. It's something about like in the first like minute or 2 minutes that you don't want to. Which I mean, we're safe on, but there is like
fucking idiots.
Huh?
I said fucking idiots because we're 9 minutes. We're good. We're in.
Yeah, they have some weird rules around it, but whatever. Trust in the algo, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you were gonna say? You know what I saw in just like a random like weekly wrap up news? A single Bitcoin miner hit one of the rewards, which like never happens, like ever. One lowly Bitcoin miner, not one of the major pools, dinged a 6.25 Bitcoin reward recently. It's pretty crazy, actually.
What did they get a reward for?
For Bitcoin mining.
What does that even mean? Like you could randomly get a larger reward than you should.
So there's the total hash rate of all of the Bitcoin mining happening, right? And these huge Bitcoin mining companies really just make up the majority of, or big mining pools even, make up the majority of the people who close the Bitcoin block. And if you are the one that closes the final transaction in that block, you get the reward that's released, right? So every time that happens, right now, 6.25 Bitcoin gets released to the person who finishes the block. And all of these people are competing for hash rate, because the greater your hash rate, the more of a chance that you have to close the block. And yeah, a solo Bitcoin miner just won one of the rewards. And I mean, like, it's probably been like years since that's happened.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really is by and large like useless for you as an individual to just turn on like a single PC mining rig and run a Bitcoin miner. You would definitely want to join a pool so that you can at least share in the rewards, but you don't get anything if you don't win the rewards, and you'll never do that. If I just turned on my PC and was like, yeah, mine Bitcoin, never. It's a waste of energy for me to do it. I'll never see an ROI on it.
Is there a price Bitcoin could get to in which you would see an ROI? Or
no, because you will just simply never win the reward, right?
The reward, but I'm saying, like, if Bitcoin went to $1 million by 2030, does that mean all the mining you've done over the last 7 years was not profitable still?
Well, correct, as like a solo miner, because the odds of me hitting one of those rewards is almost negligible. Like,
right.
Imagine playing.
So without the rewards, it's just not profitable.
Imagine getting dealt poker hands, 5-card poker hands, right?
Yeah.
And you have to put in $5 every hand, and the only time that you'll ever win money is if you hit 2 royal flushes in a row.
Right.
It's probably less odds than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there is a point where if you hit it, like, I'm sure that this guy that hit that reward, the 130K that it is right now, I would guarantee that is an incredible return on investment. But the odds of that happening are so low that it probably wasn't a plus EV decision. You know what I mean?
And the yield, if you don't get those rewards, is just never going to catch up no matter what.
Right, because you'll never get the rewards. It's like playing the lottery, and there's no smaller prizes. You have to win the lottery to win. Like, chances are you're just never going to do that, right?
I'll just stake my ETH with Rocket Pool, R2.
Do it.
Brought to you by Rocket Pool.
I didn't realize you were settling for 8% a year.
It's 8%?
Is it? What is it? What is the ETH?
I thought it was under 5, but
there you go. I don't know. GM guys, what's going on? Happy Monday to everybody tuning in. It is episode 184 of the AM show. I'm glad to have you here. January 23rd. I guess we're slowly approaching New York's snowless record of that'll be this Sunday, but we got dumped on yesterday. It was funny. I went for a walk to go get my coffee. No snow, nothing on the ground. Wasn't even snowing in the sky. Kind of holed myself up in my apartment. Wasn't really paying attention to the outside world. And 2 hours later, I looked out and just covered in snow everywhere. So I'm glad. It actually feels like winter. It was it's beautiful out. I love that, like, fresh, fluffy snow that's just covers the trees before it gets all melty and slushy and all that stuff.
And I hear rumors of a polar vortex coming to New York. So hopefully that record will stay intact and we will not break it, as it were.
Yeah. I would say you're probably one of the few people that don't want that record to be broken.
Oh, weird, right?
Yeah, no, you know what? I mean, definitely as I've gotten older, I appreciate the snow a lot more. Probably also helps that I have underground parking, and so I don't have to actually deal with the consequences of snow except for driving in it. But yeah, I'm happy. I, for one, welcome the polar vortex. Let's get it.
Woo!
But yeah, oh man, what a run we're having in crypto. Still sort of decoupled from the traditional markets, although they don't run on the weekend. So I guess we're going to be seeing what kind of lag or catch up it does this week. But if we're looking at it, Bitcoin up a nice 10% on the last 7 days. In the last 24 hours, just been sideways. I would say that's probably more like 48 to 72 hours, just been trading sideways. But briefly. Woo! After the show, another nice little leg up, and we seem to be taking 2 steps forward and 1 little step back every time crypto is kind of ramping. I don't think that this means that we're completely out of the woods yet. This is, I feel like a nice what?
We're out of the woods, guys.
We're out of the woods. You're calling it?
Out of the woods for a while. Yeah, for a while.
Well, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna pull up a tweet from DC Investor, and just for context, right now Bitcoin sitting at just under 23,000, ETH sitting at 1626. Their local highs are just slightly above
right
that.
Now. So's the market. Caught a rocket up its ass while we were doing our introduction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. This is a 10-minute lag on the S&Ps, but I'm seeing up 0.2% right now. But
4,011, my friend. Here in the
okay, so we broke
Whoa,
4,000. I'm gonna have to find a more live one so that we're on the same page when we're talking about this stuff. But yeah, hey, look, we're in a situation right now where the runway seems a little bit clearer for at least a little bit of fun in the short term. We don't talk about DC Investor a lot, but this is a great Twitter follow if you don't. Just for, I think, really rational, level-headed discussion about markets and NFTs. But this is somebody that's not much of a trader in terms of NFTs. This is a buyer and holder. He mentioned, and this is bullish to me. One, he just bought a whole bunch more ETH. That's great. But he said, my general feeling is that people expecting another 2008 style macro meltdown are going to remain very disappointed. There has been too much cash injected into the system, perhaps rationalize higher valuations. Fiat isn't ready to die yet, and still no clear collateral crisis. Not saying the bottom is in or whatever, just saying your dream of being able to buy everything down 80% from here may not come true. Sorry. I feel like that is just a really quick, concise summation of how I've been feeling about things too. Like I really don't think that even in the the later part of this year, even or absent of any major destruction or crisis kind of starting to occur, yeah, I don't know that we are going to be seeing sub 1,000 ETH. And if we do, I don't think it's going to be for that long. And I don't think it's going to be, some people are like 5 ETH to 500, ETH to 400. Like, I'm not seeing it. I don't know. That 75% down from here feels like a long shot.
Well, I was telling you guys last November that I thought that when we did have our pullback this year, that crypto wasn't going to make new lows. I've said a few times, I do think we had our capitulation event already. You can even see it in the reaction to Genesis, guys. Think about that. Everyone for months had been saying if the Genesis shoe drops, we're going to hell. We maintained our rally and took another leg up when Genesis announced bankruptcy. And then when we're looking at their books now, it seems that they actually dumped a lot of Bitcoin already. That was probably what happened post FTX. They knew what was coming. They were probably insta-dumping Bitcoin, which is why Bitcoin made new lows. I think people are looking at this rally too much through a crypto lens, which is fair. I know that especially given our industry-specific issues we've had this year, it's not crazy to think about it that way. But I think the reason all of this is happening, the underlying tailwind here, remember, the moment the FTX news broke, 2 days later, CPI missed to the downside for the first time this cycle, the first time since hyperinflation started and all that type of stuff. And we were talking about, man, Sam fucked us off. Sam hadn't done this.
The irony is if he had held on for maybe 2 or 3 more days, he potentially could have gotten out of it too.
We may be
and I'm not saying that he should have,
right
but
now. It
could have been
right. We could be enjoying this pump on FTX right now. But seriously, what if we think about it? That was the moment the data turned, and for months, the data has continued to be supportive. It has outpaced even the most aggressive estimates on how inflation will fall. Now, there are a few fringe, very, very handsome people who did predict this, but it has fallen a lot more than people expected. In fact, I would argue we're already in a deflationary environment, but we'll get to that later in the year when people finally understand what that word means. That is the tailwind right now for what's going on, okay? Let's look at what happened last year in the simplest terms. The Federal Reserve, central banks around the world made money more expensive, thereby removing liquidity from the system, okay? So we spent a year of not knowing how much was going to be removed. We now have visibility on how much was removed, okay? We're looking around at where we are, and now we know where the end is. Remember, markets price things in law. You still have people acting like the Federal Reserve and interest rates are what matters, right? They've told you what we're going to do. As long as the data doesn't surprise to the upside, which the converse has been happening. It has not only been to the downside, it has been surprising a lot more. PPI last week was supposed to come in minus 0.1%. It comes in minus 0.5%. Do you know what kind of beat that is in macroeconomic terms? What kind of miss that is? I instinctually want to call it a beat because it's good for us, but it's technically a miss, okay? So PPI missed to the downside in a huge way. This is the tailwind supporting this rally right now. It's an understanding of, okay, this much liquidity was removed from the system. This is how much we have left. And going forward, the odds are liquidity is going to be added in. So guess what markets are doing now? Markets are front running that, okay? And the thesis that I talked about a couple weeks on this show, where every bank on Wall Street, every pundit, every influencer was telling you we're going to have a rough first half of the year, find a new bear market low, and then rally at the end of the year. I said, fuck consensus, flip it on its head. But I will still stick to this. We're going to have a crazy ass rally in the first half of the year, and we're going to have a pullback in the second half. The thing is, the pullback is not going to be because inflation reared its head again, the economy collapsed. Now, don't get me wrong. It'll be sparked by some bad numbers. You know, we'll get 2 months or 3 months of rough labor numbers or rough this, but that'll be it. That'll actually be measuring the end of the period that we just ran through, not some new beginning, not some, oh shit, here's what's coming. Markets will react to that, but I really think the main driver for markets being down in the second half of the year is people are going to get too bullish in the first half of the year. Why are they going to get too bullish? Because shit is going to look great. I'm talking great. Soft landing. You have heard this shit talked about for a long time now, but there is a distinct possibility. The data is implying that this is a very, very distinct possibility. That's happening at the same time. Everybody was positioned for worse. Everyone was positioned for doom. 2008. How many fucking times did you see the 2008 analogy, a chart of 2008 laid over the pullback from last year?
Yeah.
You know, all that shit. And holy shit, did markets just get hit in the balls right now? I don't even know what happened. But ETH just went. There's the exact, every time ETH gets to 1650 over the weekend, it got smacked down in one candle, and that just happened again. No explanation.
That's all right. We're taking a couple stabs at it. We can
crazy.
We could break free. You know what? I wanted to touch on what you said about, one, the soft landing, and kind of two, bring it back to a conversation we had on Friday about listening to different points of view and kind of aggregating all of this information from multiple viewpoints or something. I actually had a conversation pardon me, with a friend on the weekend that is, one, he is a huge crypto bear. Like, he does not believe that crypto has any kind of long-term use case or any kind of long-term value. Blockchain as a technology can be very, very useful, but he's saying basically as a currency market, or, having these types of valuations is just nonsensical and non-existent, which is fine. And I actually like having those conversations with somebody that can have a rational, a rational discourse, and also, agree to disagree. He doesn't shit on me for believing in crypto, and can accept the viewpoints that I make too, right? So that's always a very interesting conversation. But he is, pretty deep in the financial markets. And talking to him about 6 months ago, the idea of a soft landing was likely off the table. Like, he felt like it was going to get very bad, that this was not a situation that the Fed even had enough tools to control and deal with. And even now, talking to him, he thinks that's way more on the table than it used to be. Again, that's not financial advice. He's not giving me financial advice or whatever, but he's definitely changed his tune for things softening up a little bit, and maybe not getting as nasty as it felt like it was going to 6 months ago, 9 months ago, which I found very encouraging too.
And that's the main thing you're playing right now. Guys, we don't know if a soft landing is going to happen. I'm giving you like my roadmap and my predict, but nobody knows.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone that says this, it is for sure. This is all. It's a game of odds, right? Like you are playing the hand that you are dealt with the total amount of information you can possibly take in, and you're assigning basically probability values to it. Saying that yeah, a soft landing will happen basically means in your mind it might be 70-30, which is not a sure bet, but every
It
time
was
you're making a
99
choice,
to 1 last year. Just to give you an understanding
right?
of how much of a needle you're threading. It was a 99 to 1 shot last year that they could pull this off. All right.
Right.
And now,
And they still haven't, but
right. The
that
thing
those odds are
is,
shifting.
banks were positioned like it was a 99 to 1 shot. Now that it's a 70-30 shot, they have to position that way.
Is it actually a 70-30? Because I just pulled that number out of my ass.
No, I honestly, in my opinion, it is a coin flip now.
Okay.
It is a coin flip, and I actually think they're going to pull it off. Again, we're going to go into a technical recession, so bears will be able to say, "See, believe me," and there will be moments.
Hey, if you're bearish for long enough, you'll always be right at some point.
And I will say this much: there will be moments this year where both sides will look very, very right. So just keep that in mind, okay? The soft landing guys and the hard landing guys will both have moments this year, okay? I guarantee that. But I think a lot of it is going to be due to how keyed up we are, right? We are primed right now for volatility. People's lizard brains have been activated. We're in fight or flight mode. Anything that happens this year is going to be exaggerated both ways. And I think that the main driver of a pullback in the second half of the year is that people got too bullish in the first half. And I think because of that, major markets like stocks and bonds and crypto will not make the lows they did last year. We'll get close. The same bearish narratives will pop up. It'll be scary. All that stuff will happen, but I do not think it will tip over. I think this is something I've been trying to maintain the whole time. We did not just go through the everything bubble. This was a bear market within a larger secular bull. That secular bull is going to go for another 6 or 7 years. And that's really the main premise. Expect some volatility this year. And next year in an election year, do not expect new all-time highs. All right. I would expect crazy rally first half of this year, crazy pullback second half of this year, maybe rally up to the middle of whatever that range is next year, and then chop until we find out who the new president is going to be. Then there will be a false breakdown out of the large bull flag that we have printed, at which point it will reverse. And by 2025, we will start a genuine uptrend in which you just buy weakness every time it pulls back. And that's just your general philosophy in life. Yeah.
You got it. Well, one thing that's not going incredible during these kind of runs is NFTs. Not that it's all bad, but I mean, I follow my portfolio. I love the Blur portfolio tracker on there. You kind of log in and whatnot. And most of the collections that I hold are down over the past 2 weeks since we had that nice little volume spike in NFTs, but that's okay. Again, we talked about it a lot. Most of the NFTs that I bought and have been loading up on during this time, it really is more of just like a buy and hold and then sell into volume when that kind of comes around. So volume is out right now. So I definitely bought a little bit higher on a couple of things than I wanted to, but I don't feel bad about the cost basis that I have going there. But yeah, I mean, there's some rolling pumps here. Yuga's done pretty well. The sewer passes were a bit of a cook if you got in early enough on them. I think that they were trading for just under 1 ETH very briefly, and then turns out people like the Yuga stuff. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, what are you seeing in NFTs right now? Is kind of just the same thing, right? Like all eyes are on alts and coins.
Exactly. We said hopefully ETH rallies to 1600 and goes sideways for a while and gives NFTs a moment. But again, I think this rally is catching a lot of people off guard. I think a lot of people don't believe still to this. I mean, I want to emphasize what happened while we were talking on the show. I had glanced over. ETH broke out of that 1620 range it had been in overnight, got up to 1645, and in one candle, a tick in a 1 minute candle, it fell from 1645 to 1585. We did not even make a 1585 low over the weekend. It's climbed back to 1610 right now, but guess what? People are jittery. People are still jittery. Let it pull back. Let it go to 1500. This is a buy weakness moment. Now, in rallies like this, you don't chase, because exactly what you're seeing happen is going to happen a lot, especially with leverage. I was saying it yesterday. They don't want to let anybody with leverage in on the next leg. We all know the next leg is up. But boy, every time it gets to 1650, you know, a bunch of people are like, all right, let's try our 100x here. Let's try our 25x. And then bam, just absolutely bushwhacked right at that most. So they don't want to let anybody in on the next leg with any leverage. But I mean, again, this is not financial advice or a call, but I personally am just in a buy weakness mode. There is a macro tailwind, and then there is the crypto mean reversion tailwind where, yeah, it's been down so fucking much, it deserves a little mean reversion. It's natural. So you combine those two things, I really think you're in a buy weakness moment. But fuck if that wasn't a scary candle for people sitting there. And again, they be careful with leverage right now because everything is up so much. I mean, I'm seeing random shitcoins pull back 20% in a candle and then retrace most of it. Like, it's crazy. I mean, they're absolutely out of their minds right now. So just as long as you're careful and as long as you buy the dips, don't buy the rips, don't chase this high up. You want to wait for the pullbacks, but don't be scared. Like what you're seeing right now, market pulls back $50. That's when you start thinking you should go shopping. Not when it was at 1650, like, oh, here comes the next leg, press the leverage. No, that is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are waiting for that like 1200 again. I mean, it might be a while before that. I
really don't think that's coming. I think you would be lucky.
You know what? The other thing that we don't have a huge data set for, and I guess we're gonna just start talking back about crypto again, but we don't have a huge data set for is actually the effects of the merge on ETH, right? Like this is still relatively new, but because it has been either slightly deflationary or the issuance of ETH is so dramatically down to where it could be, the $800 lows might actually be more baked in at like 1,000 now, right? Like if you normalize it against the lack of growth in the supply of ETH, right? Like that floor kind of has to naturally get pulled up too, right? So, I think that part of the ETH cost like it has to change is basically what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words.
There is a website people can, I forget.
Yeah, I was just going to pull that up.
Check it out. It'll show you how much ETH has been burned, whether it's deflationary at the moment or over time. Great website. And, I think largely right now we're going to bounce around kind of even, because while you will get mini bull markets in price, like we're seeing, people ain't back. It's not like people came back yet. I mean, like I gave you that scenario early on. All the people who were here who left, they're probably looking at this right now going, fuck you, scam, scam pump, took all my money. I'm never looking at crypto again. That's all those people, they're not back. And you want that activity. Once that activity comes out, holy shit. I mean, if NFTs on ETH become a global phenomenon like we believe it's going to, I mean, they're going to be shit, man. This is going to be so deflationary. It's out of your mind.
It's that site is ultrasound.money.
I love it. I'm saving it now because I always forget.
Yeah. I mean, is this going to make a big difference on your day-to-day life and your trading? Probably not, but it is a good indicator of what has occurred versus what should have occurred. And it's got this button here, simulate proof of work. So right now, 130 days since the ETH merge, coming up on almost well, I guess we got a couple months before a half year, but we are down 2,500 ETH the supply has been reduced by 2,500 ETH since the merge. Now, that doesn't seem like a huge number, but if you consider the fact that if we had stayed on proof of work, the supply would have increased by 1.5 million.
Think about that.
I mean, that is an incredible reduction in sell pressure.
That's a percent of the total ETH that's out there.
More. Oh yeah, that growth would have
It's like,
represented.
I think we're 150 mil, right? 100.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah.
3.5% is what that growth would have been, and right now we're at basically 0% growth.
And this is during what you would argue is a low usage time, right? The
Right,
more you use ETH, the more this effect
It's a good point too.
pronounced.
Yeah.
So it, a lot of people are like, "Hey, man, stop overthinking it. Just buy ETH." It's hard to argue with them when you see something like this, right? I just think that the yield on proof of stake is it's a bit of an illusion in the sense, it's only 5%. But I think ETH's going to appreciate so much,
Yeah, you're getting a 5% increase
my
in
God.
an appreciating asset. So
I mean, I know people didn't want to hear it while our net worths were plummeting to zero, but I see no reason.
yeah, don't worry, you can still get your 5%.
Right. I just see, I'm very bullish on ETH and the whole concept. Is bullish. Bullish ETH.
What else do we got going on? I guess we can kind of go back to that brief tweet from Beeple saying that he had an announcement. Obviously, it did turn out to be the art studio that he's going to be opening, but in Charleston, South Carolina, an interesting place for it, but a 50,000 square foot studio that features a 13,000 square foot gallery and experiential space that he's teaming up with a bunch of the biggest artists in NFTs. That's pretty bullish in my mind too. I think that any time people can go and rationalize the existence of digital assets in a physical space, I think it's going to be a huge win. And I don't think most people outside of NFTs are going to know who the name Beeple is. If anything, it's going to be tied to that $69 million purchase that happened, I guess, almost 2 years ago now. But
yeah,
he is a king amongst NFT and crypto Twitter world and all of that stuff. But Xcopy, DK, Pac, like tons of people that he's going to be collaborating with, and that's going to be opening March 11th. Oh, that's actually the 2-year anniversary of that sale too, the first 5,000 days. So, actually, I think a lot of people would recognize Beeple's art because it gets shared a lot on social media, not as NFTs, but
he was an Instagram star before he did NFT.
True, yeah, like those weird Trump and Buzz Lightyear kind of things, and yeah. So that's pretty exciting. I don't know, South Carolina, does that matter? I guess we thought it was going to be in New York, didn't we?
We did,
yeah,
because that's where his new studio is being built. But
Beeple Studios, March 11th. So I guess worth a checkout if you're ever in there. I would go see that. South Carolina is a little bit far for me to go down to an art studio for, but we'll figure that out. So cool. Porsche, you saw the Porsche NFTs too, eh?
I did. I dropped. I had to double check. It was definitely.
Yeah, I did too. I think I saw it independently, and I was like, "Is this a real Porsche NFT?" It is.
It is.
Also, cool. Cool check mark on Twitter. They have the yellow check mark, which means that it's a verified, like, associated account with the actual. That was cool. That was the first time I saw that. But.
It's friction now as people get used to it, but once it becomes at a glance instinctual, it's a great idea. Everyone complained about the blue check switching over process. This is going to be a lot safer for people to be able to know at a glance it's the real brand.
Yeah, and they're actually talking about adding associated accounts in. So corporations or companies could actually have their own little logo, like the Nike could have like a verified little Nike swoosh or whatever, and then they can associate like official like employees and stuff that they feel are like that can kind of speak on their behalf and whatnot too, which I think is really fascinating for a company to be able to manage those associations. kind of getting off topic here, but some pretty cool iterations going on at Twitter.
Well, this is a NFT for the Porsche 911, and of course, it was priced at 0.911, which should imply in its price it does not come with a real Porsche. But it is just another large, well-known, legendary brand getting into digital collectibles, and I think they're doing it because, you know, there are a few car brands like Porsche or Ferrari whose fan bases go beyond the people who can afford the car.
For sure. I don't own a Porsche. I would love to one day, but I love even just seeing Porsches. Just beautiful cars.
It's my favorite car too, and I
didn't say it was my favorite car. Don't put words in my mouth.
It's my favorite car, at least, and I think that Porsche, like Ferrari, and again, I don't know this specifically, but one of the fun facts about Ferrari is that they actually make more profit from their merchandise than they do from their cars. Their cars are essentially advertisements for them to sell T-shirts and jackets. Okay,
is that right, eh?
Yeah, isn't that a very interesting thing when it
I feel like I'd feel dirty wearing a Ferrari tracksuit if I didn't have one.
Well, the excuse is that they are part of an F1 team, so you're supporting their F1, and you know
that's also valid point. Yep.
Right. So I think that
as I wear a Toronto Blue Jays hat, and
right. So I think that Porsche knows that they have the type of fan base in which, you know, any type of collectible or merchandise is likely going to be gobbled up. This is their foray into phygital. I hate the word so much. Why am I even saying it?
Yeah, you're pushing this harder than most, and you don't even like it. But
this is
ignore
a physical first company getting into digital collectibles. It's one of the most legendary brands on the planet, and I'm serious. I would love to have Dirty Milk.
Minting is live. I didn't even realize. Oops.
I would love to have Dirty Milk hop on because he's a car guy, and I'm not a car. I say Porsche is my favorite car because I like the way they look, and I know they vroom well. And people who like cars tell me it's the best made engine, all that type of shit. I would love to hear why Dirty Milk thinks this is a bad move for them. I admit I don't know anything about the project.
I think the 0.911 ETH mint price it probably feels a little steep with a 7,500 collection. Like I always go back to like this idea of like, you know, what is the purpose for having a cost associated with your mint? Although I will digress that, you know, Porsche has a brand and a value to protect, right? Like it's like they can't just make things free or cheap because that kind of goes against the ethos of like the Porsche name.
Well, I got reservations and exclusives. I mean,
but that's what I mean. Like, why? Like, what do they need this money for? Like, I guess if you do the quick math on that, we're probably talking in the ballpark of 7,000 ETH raised, which is, I guess, about $10 million. Does Porsche need $10 million? I don't know. That seems weird to me. Mm-hmm. But again, you're also establishing value through pricing too, right? Like, you know, even in traditional branding and sales and retail and all of that stuff, higher pricing can actually drive more sales than less because there's a perceived value in something that's cheap versus expensive. So getting your pricing right is very important. Maybe that was just what they were going with, you know, like maybe it's just like, well, we're Porsche. It can't be cheap inherently, right?
Right. And it's a weird line in the sense that it's expensive for a mint, but doesn't this feel cheap for a product from Porsche? Like, that's where
it's right. I think there's a lot of healthy debate to be had.
Yeah.
But you know, again, it's just like I don't think Porsche needs $10 million. I mean, it's not a small amount of money, but to a large company like that, it does seem a little bit cringy, but hey, you know, Porsche is a car guy brand. This would have been suited McLaren so much better. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I think these type of moves are no-brainers in a sense for companies. It's $10 million. Everyone, no matter the balance sheet, would like another $10 million. And again, I think when you already have the type of brand equity they've built over decades, that exclusives mean something. Like if these are going to be passes for something related to Porsche, I think there's genuine value in that, and these would likely trade higher on that. If this is a cash grab from the Web3 world, it's, I mean, like R2 says, why do they need to, like, do they need $10 million if this didn't do anything for them?
Yeah, I guess my thinking would be almost something along like the Gary V's Flyfish
Right.
path, right? Like this is probably phase one or like the OG pass where it's not just an NFT. There might be a nice picture of a Porsche associated with it, and there are some traits and whatnot, but more of like the entrance pass into this greater, deeper world that that Porsche has and wants to interact with their fans with. I think that brand engagement is probably where this is going to go. And we've seen some other companies do that too. But I think it's probably less about like this as an NFT and more about, you know, what it's going to mean to real Porsche collectors and owners. And by extension, there will probably be some built-in value to that, right?
How about this? We know how hard it is, even if you're a rich guy. You can't just walk into a Ferrari dealership and say, I want that Ferrari. They're waitlisted insane. If Ferrari said, we're releasing 1,000 NFTs that give you first reservation right to a Ferrari.
Right. That's where I'm going with too, because I immediately go to like the Ferrari Enzo, where they had a very, very limited supply of it, right? And you know, if this had gone back a while ago, but if, you know, Ferrari had the OG mint like collector's pass that was, you know, highly sought after and coveted within, you know, the Ferrari owners community, and all of a sudden they were like, by the way, if you want this ultra exclusive Ferrari that we're releasing, you have to own one of these passes. Ferrari collectors, whether or not they're NFT heads, would just go buy one of those go buy one of those passes to get one, right? You know what I mean?
Princes would bid them to millions.
100%.
Are you kidding me? It would be bananas, I think. So the idea that Porsche is more I mean, I don't even know if you could call it that, but more aspirational luxury than a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Maybe 7,500 is the right supply, and if they did announce that this gave you exclusive reservation rights to certain Porsches, I don't know why these wouldn't, you know, again.
I don't think that would be the main utility, but like if that was one of the utilities down the road, like then there would be a lot of value in holding on to one of these, I would think.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a Porsche owner or not, like you would probably be able to sell them. The supply seems a little bit high to me, but that's it doesn't.
It does. Like I'm
doesn't
trying
affect you
to
one way
know,
or another.
because how many rich people vie for Ferraris every year? 1,000? Like I don't know what it. You know, I don't know.
Oh, it's probably more than that, but yeah,
so?
yeah.
So, I always love Porsches, but I have to defer to Dirty Milk. He's my car guy. He says it's cheap and tawdry. They're selling themselves like a cheap tawdry company. How dare they?
You know what would be cool too is you know, if there's these like exclusive Porsche kind of designs that are released, you could, you know, if you had the NFT, you could get your Porsche like wrapped or painted in that or something.
Well,
I don't know.
Forget play to earn, R2. What if this is Porsche's foray into drive to earn?
Drive to earn?
Huh? Does that sound lunatic-y? Does that sound
Greta Thunberg punch in the air right now.
from her jail cell, apparently.
Oh God, don't even. Did you see the video where that was so brutally staged? Like,
no, but I believe
she's standing amongst them, laughing with them, and they're talking, and then they're basically, all right, let's do this, and then they pick her up. Like, it wasn't even remotely real. Like, it was, and there's like a full like 5-minute video showing this. It was very, very cringy.
I did put a huge portion of my stack into a drive to earn token over the weekend, so I'm glad it all came back around. And that isn't a joke I just constructed. There is something out there called drive to earn. Their idea is decentralized
or Dash. Yeah, yeah, being a cab driver, Uber driver for sure.
Their idea is decentralized ways Use your
Ah,
smartphone
come
and
over it.
artificial intelligence to map the world. We will pay
We
you
did
in
this.
this.
We did this 5 years ago. I'm not. It doesn't matter. Decentralize everything. Oh.
To the moon.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I'm a big fan of decentralizing some stuff. I don't think we need. Whatever. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But yeah, good to see you in here, Dirty Milk. Appreciate it. It's
I
early,
like
early on the
I
West
like
Coast.
your prediction mantras. We're basically in line. I
Prediction:
don't think it'll
soft
take
landing narrative till August. Some crazy flag event in Q4 causing a market crash. New narrative for the 2024 election and permission to print more money to Fed. Okay. No, I mean,
I'll take it. Just stop the
sure.
QE tightening. That I know there's a black swan event brewing over the horizon, like a bullish one, and I've been trying to figure out what it is. Maybe the Fed decides to stop the quantitative tightening. Remember, they're taking two-pronged approach here. They're not only raising interest rates, they're also ramping down QE or quantitative easing, which may be having more of an effect on our beloved crypto than just higher interest rates. It's a double-pronged thing. Maybe they announce, we're not going to do that anymore. We're done with that. It's over. It's over.
Well, just to give you guys a heads up, back to Porsche really briefly, the public sale is going to be going live. I don't know, 4 p.m. UTC -5. What is that? Is that Eastern? I think that's Eastern. I can never remember, but sometime today. If you're going after these, God, there's part of me that kind of just wants to be a degen and try and get my hands on one or two of these. I guess I would have to see. I gotta believe this is going to sell out. So I don't know. What other NFTs stuff we've been talking about? I guess the Super Bowl day is coming up where we're going to see Digi Dragons hit a commercial for a live free mint that our old friend Gabe is going to be claiming is going to revolutionize the NFT space. I mean, after how bullish we were on the last Super Bowl, I got to maybe probably take a step back here. But hey, people love free shit, and the Coinbase commercial was a big hit last year. So we'll see how this all goes down. But I guess that's February 12th. Man, we're 2 weeks away. So also, RIP to your New York Football Giants. Sorry about the loss there. That was a bad one, though.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on the timeline tweeting about it.
Oh, now he's not a Giants fan.
Oh, I am a Giants fan. I mean, again, I'm satiated. We won the two most important Super Bowls in history. I'll tell you what I yearn for.
Spoken like a true Giants fan.
It's true, though. We've done it. Eli Manning is a king, Hall of Fame, first ballot, even though,
yeah, okay.
Hall of Fame, first ballot. Hockey. I would like a Stanley Cup in New York. That you would see me very excited for. I'm full of Lombardi trophies. I'm still digesting the last one. And I have so many World Series rings that all my toes and fingers are covered, and we still have a few left over. So,
yeah, all right.
Just saying.
Opened that can of worms. That's on me. Sorry, guys.
New York.
The New Yorker coming through. Yeah, as we mentioned, Metaverse tokens seeing a big run to Axie. I think most people thought the token unlock was going to be a very bearish event. Turns out not so much, 22% on Axie. I got to dig into the Axie world again and see what's actually going on there. I don't, I followed it. I paid attention to it. I've never participated in it, but seems to be hanging on. I mean, it's down bad from like its all-time highs or whatever, but I think that's okay. Yeah, Axie crushing it. And you said Stargate
Atlas, their coin up 50%.
Star Atlas, yeah,
over the weekend. So this week, after we ended the show last week, ETH took another leg up to like 1677 that evening and has been digesting that move since.
Look at that spike, eh?
That's
Star Atlas, yeah.
Yeah, but alts continue to ramp. Anytime ETH pauses and consolidates, it seems because people are taking that money and rotating down into the higher beta assets And alts led this weekend by metaverse plays again. Decentraland, Sandbox, Stargate Atlas, a ton I had never heard of. And the buzzword this weekend in NFTs also is Chinese metaverse land. China's coming online in a big way right now. All of Asia is, and the next coin cycles and the next NFT cycles may largely be driven by that part of the world. And it's what I have been hearing and seeing in the coins this weekend. Of course, artificial intelligence with another strong showing this weekend, also putting in another leg higher. Those names have been consolidating a little bit, but alt mid cap, alt L1s starting to take a leg higher this weekend. We have bullish unlocks from Magic, from OP, from LDO, from Aptos, and everyone.
Yeah, Aptos crushing it too. Yeah,
crushing it. New all-time highs in price discovery mode, and people are, of course, still scared and not believing the rally. And by the time they believe it, I think we're going to be much higher. You're going to get moments like we did where we were on this show where shit falls 10, 20%. I mean, the candles on alts when ETH fell $70 a moment ago was nuts. And that wipes out everybody who had leverage for a long way down. So as long as you keep that in mind, and as long as you wait for those moments to buy as opposed to buying the rips, there is very, very obvious rotation right now. You're playing a rotation. Money is rotating into certain things. Follow that money. Shit is hot.
I know you wanted to talk about Sewer Pass for a little bit. I mean, not a ton to go over since we talked about it last. I mean, the game is out there. People are playing the shit out of it. Floor price of the tier 1 pass sitting at just under 2 ETH right now. Obviously, we mentioned that's up since its release, maybe even slightly down since Friday when we were on the show. It did, I think 2.3 was a price that I saw it get to. But man, people digging the Yuga game, and I think the general sentiment behind it is just that, like, in terms of its quality, it's there, right? Like, they put out just a really good product. Again, nothing revolutionary. We talked about that on the show too. Innovation can be overrated, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely captivated a lot of people. A lot of people getting their hands on these sewer passes just to play the game too, right?
Yeah, two major takeaways from the weekend from people who know gaming. We're talking about traditional gamers with streaming services who like crypto, coming over to Web3, fashion themselves to be Web3 gaming analysts, talking about this is the best Web3 game they've ever played. Anybody who's paying attention here should understand that Yuga is going to be a contender in gaming. You don't even have to say Web3. That is how good and well received this game has been. It has been played millions of times. Some people complaining about the amount of the sewer pass. These were not sold to Bored Ape Yacht Club members. Anybody who is part of that club got it for free. It is an advantage of being in the club. This is what the market decided playing this game is worth. And right now, that's $3,200. That's how much it costs to play this game. And it's apparently that good. And being part of the Yuga ecosystem is worth it. The big story, the big takeaway, besides the fact that these guys are going to be contenders in gaming, is that Yuga continues to demand real value from their assets because of what they've built. No other reason. This is Yuga branded. It's Bored Ape branded. This game is a $3,200 floor to play. Period. They created that, quote unquote, out of thin air because of who they are. And I think that is my biggest takeaway. Yuga continues to dominate in the world of digital assets. And I think in a bear market with coins stealing everyone's mind share, NFTs doing nothing, they still manage to do this anytime they want. They could just decide, this is what we're going to do this thing. And look at how much volume and value has been created here. So even just, you're a Bored Ape Yacht Club member. You don't want to play this stupid fucking game. You don't care what the prizes are. You just got free money, free airdrop.
Yeah, the
Boom.
tier
Sell
4
it.
pass is going as high as almost
Right.
6 ETH just recently too. So that
Exactly.
is like
Boom.
just the floor pass. The tier 1 pass is going for 2. Like they are scaled up. Tier 2 going for 2.4 ETH. Tier 3 just sold for 3 ETH, and then of course almost 6 ETH on the tier
And of
4.
course-
So I mean, Yuga stays crushing it. I mean, this is a good bullish indicator that even apart from all NFT things, that people are still very, very high on Yuga and the products that they're putting out there.
And how much is that insane fucking yield they're getting from staking right now? Because ApeCoin, another story over the weekend, from 380 to 570, those guys are banking.
Yep.
Fucking
Yeah,
banking. We're
ApeCoin
talking
amongst
yield.
that.
Classic ETH bull market, pumped up, insano yield from staking an NFT and Ape. I mean,
we can't also discount the fact that they've built in ApeCoin function into the game too, right? Like this is part of the game, and as predicted, they are using it to power their ecosystem and participate in it and whatnot, and therefore changing the dynamics of the supply. And if this is just the first kind of taste of what they're releasing and the quality that people are excited about, like, again, this seems like a pretty undervalued coin in the grand scheme of things. Going back 14, let's go back 90 days. Like, it was down below $3 very briefly there. It's slowly kind of moved up with the rest of the market. But it's just, this is going to be the fundamental underlying asset of Yuga and all things that they're doing. And I would imagine that a $2.1 billion market cap for that right now is probably pretty low on the scale of it. Again, I wouldn't be surprised in a full on, particularly NFT run, to see this ApeCoin really fighting for a top 10 spot in crypto.
Totally agree. I said it when the staking went live that I think this could revive the NFT market, and it was just due to the fact that when people see money being printed out of thin air, it makes them believe again. All right, is it? People, this is largely a function of faith, right? And faith was shattered last year. All the things people believed in, pop, gone, snap, not real, disappeared.
And this is a good example of when you say money being created out of thin air, right? Because this is a very reasonable entrance point for people that want to have some Yuga NFT exposure, because Bored Apes are fucking expensive. Mutant Apes are fucking expensive. Even the Bored Ape kennel clubs are not cheap at all. But when these were sitting there at 1.2, 1.5, I was thinking about, maybe I should grab one of these. Lots of people were able to do that. Now that money starts circulating, starts flowing a little bit more rather than being locked up. It was a really good fractionalization of their entire collection because it didn't pull a lot of value out of the base assets, but got and not every brand can do that. It's got to be about, I want to have exposure to Yuga, and this is a great point to do it, right? Like that's what the key is there.
Yeah, I mean, I say money out of thin air, but again, this value has already been created by the fact that Yuga is what it is. And they can continue to extract value as long as they create it. And they're obviously continuing to do that. It's you can't even argue with it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I'm here for it. I don't own a pass. I don't think I'm going to, but nonetheless, I would imagine that they're going to continue to use those passes for more things too. So, what else do you want to talk about, man? We're an hour and 10 minutes into the show. I think we touched on most of the things we had lined up. Nothing too crazy.
Meme Land and the captains.
I'm glad you brought that up because I did have that kind of pulled up as a check back in, but I didn't know if that was interesting or not.
Yeah, they revealed over the weekend as Questing went live. Questing is soft staking. And the pirate flag, which was covering your box, came off, and you got to see whether it was a human, Kong, kaiju, or alien, with aliens being the most rare. I believe aliens right now go for around 15 ETH, kaijus for 8, sharks for 6.
This kaiju sold for 20.
I mean,
is that just like a wash trade?
No idea. Absolutely no idea how this works. I guess the only thing I'll caution people is that with potatoes, there were base rarities. Like, yes, you could be the rarest type, but then once the traits get distributed from staking, random potatoes became the rarest ones because they got one of one traits. So there is do not fear human holders. There is still a chance that your human can become rare, but I think the largest story here is that soft staking went live. When you are soft staked, which does require an action, it cost me about $2.50 over the weekend, your NFT is no longer sellable. So you can still see it there. It hasn't gone to another contract, but it is not sellable on any marketplaces until you stop questing. I guess some of the larger revelations were the emphasis on having potatoes for your crew doesn't seem to be as valuable as the community made it out to be and assumed it was going to be. It's actually better to have 2 captains yield-wise than to have 1 captain and 3 potatoes. Potato prices have adjusted accordingly. These did see a post-reveal dump. They were sitting at 5 ETH when they revealed. They dumped down to about 3.7 or 3.6, and now they sit at about 4.5.
That seems like a reasonable shift, though, because you've now kind of categorized the different tiers within, right? So, when you're kind of building out the total value, the humans are obviously going to come down while everything else goes up. And I would argue that when it's all said and done, that's probably about the same floor price as it was. In terms of like total market cap.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is not a ton of details on questing, with the exception of you get treasure maps. So you're out there questing. You can get treasure maps. I believe the other advantage to having potatoes is they also acquire resources while you're questing, which I assume will help you dig out these treasures, because we still technically don't know what treasure maps do, even though we assume it allows you to go to islands and get treasure. Seems pretty obvious, but as of right now, if your captain is staked, he is questing. There are multipliers if you have potatoes, and through questing, you will acquire maps. These maps have different rarities. You obviously have a different percentage chance of receiving the different rarities. And I think that's all we know. 2 weeks from now, we will get V2 questing, which I assume comes with a lot more details about what the hell questing is, why we should care, and I guess how it all relates to meme coin, because Meme Land, 9gag, the entire company and team over there is fashioning this as meme coin goes beyond even Meme Land. We are trying to build a creator's economy backed by Web3, funded by this token. And while the Meme Land NFT experience will be what generates the token, they expect it to be larger within the greater web. So we still have no details on what connects point A to point B. All I can tell you right now is captains are questing. The floor has held very well since then. I mean, if you held a human, you're down about half an ETH right now after the reveal, which again, I think that's relatively negligible given how the rarities pan out, and the fact that if you're still holding your captain, I assume you're buying into whatever the game or DeFi or creator eco, whatever they're trying to build. So this is where it's at right now. I think there will obviously be weekly town halls where maybe we will get, I gotta say, all projects, shelve the fucking town halls. They are so stupid. They are so pointless. Maybe the fact that you're up there in the Twitter bar and people see you're holding a space, like that gives you visibility and maybe valuable. But fuck, man, just list whatever your basic announcements are. You know, do a town hall once a month. We don't need weekly town halls. There's not enough going on.
Yeah.
But I believe 2 weeks from now, we will get Questing V2 and more details on it. But there it is as it stands. Captain's Field. People are safe questing.
They're holding up well. It's good.
Holding up very well price-wise. People are acquiring treasure maps. We don't know what they do. I think that's all we can say so far. We're waiting for more details.
Shout out to Raji, just throwing out that the sewer passes burn and become power cores going into Evo 2, which I would imagine plays into the mech thing that they were, dropping. So I appreciate that little tidbit. So it's so hard to keep up with all of the goings on unless you're involved in the communities and really digging deep into that stuff, right? Like, I don't know much about captains, but you do because you're very bullish and in on that, right? So,
and I'll be honest, I am very fuddy in the Discord. Like, I
you need it.
I'm not a dick. I'm not just, but everything in there is all Moon Boy. This is why we're going to 100. I'm like, could everyone shut the fuck up? I'm still trying to understand what this project. Why am I holding my money?
Too much noise.
Like, that's the thing. You just gotta, man, if you had been here, you would just have trust and faith in Ray and the team. Fuck you. Tell me what this is about. I want to know what I'm doing here. Tell me.
Hey.
I'm just in the Discord constantly trying to figure out what's going on. It's how I felt about Valhalla too. I said the same. I just want to know what's going on. And I know they don't want us.
Valhalla's actually, I was just looking at that too, holding up pretty well.
What are we at?
It's at 0.8 floor, 0.82. Okay. So not, in the wake of all things NFTs.
In dollar terms, you're doing well since mint. Very well.
Sure, yeah. In terms of all things losing its volume in NFTs, only going down to 0.82. I mean,
I minted at the ETH lows, if you think
recently. Yeah, it did. You're right. We recently saw it as high as like 1.1 a couple weeks ago. Like, so that little bit of a pullback, not too bad at all. I'm not re-entering. I sold 2 of my 3, and I'm happy with that. But I don't think I'm re-entering anytime soon. I would probably look more like around 0.5.
Well, have you been following?
And if it doesn't get that, that's great. That's fine.
Are we waiting for anything over there? Do you know what's going on?
Again, I've kind of I think we're waiting for product now, right? Like the stacked platform, which should be entering its like limited alpha in the next few weeks. I know it was Q1 2023, so I'll have to go snoop around a little bit in their Discord and catch back up on it. Again, I do like it. I think that what they're building is very ambitious, and if they can get there, then good for that, good for the holders. I know that the coins, they're going to have a new minting role coming up relatively soon too. So kind of where we're at. I'll report back next time. It's held a low level of importance to me now that that initial fun has worn off, which is fine. That's good.
Here's one last thing I forgot to say that I'll mention. Apparently, the artist for Meme Land is a well-known manga artist. Many people have been talking about Dragon Ball Z and One Piece and da-da-da. I don't really know what type of name within that world would pump the project. Like people saying, I have to have a piece of this guy's first, I'm not in that world, so I don't know. I just wanted to say that because I think the art for Valhalla is kind of fine. Like Azuki is good too, but I have to say the one I've been a little like, has been Ether. I don't know. I'm just like, what is this project saying that's even remotely unique. I guess it's about whether the cachet, or I guess the riz, as the kids would say, whether the riz of this artist is enough to justify a 1 ETH floor and a similar anime looking aesthetic.
I know people were and are very bullish on it, but it seems to be moving very slow too.
He
Like,
just announced another delay and thanked the community for being understanding and shit. Like, it's
Okay.
all the I'm a crazy artist and I got to get my stuff right, which I'm not even I'm sure that's what it is.
Fine. I'm not here to criticize it. I just in terms of, we were talking about this along with Valhalla and the meme land one, right? Like, leading up to it, how do you get into it? Like, and this is probably going back to September probably. So yeah, definitely moving slow. Tweeting about once a month, it looks like. And again, that's not a knock. That's not a diss or anything like that. As a project that is, I think, being branded as pure art, then go ahead, get it right. Do your thing, man. All good.
Yeah, and a story, because this guy is, again, deep in the manga anime world. So I do trust them to put out like a good story and good art. I don't know. Didn't jump to me. I don't know why I expected.
So
I don't know.
This weekend, a project that I've been pretty long-term bullish on, and that bullishness was a little bit validated when they came out as the creators of Goblin Town.
Yeah.
That of course is Truth. They did the Illuminati NFTs, so I minted the Illuminati NFTs, and I kind of just held. Definitely had a couple opportunities to sell for a good profit, but I don't know. I probably held on a little bit longer than I should have. Whatever. Neither here nor there. When they announced that they were, the creators of Goblin Town, they also announced that they held 1,000 back to distribute to the Illuminati NFT holders. So that, I mean, of course, created a swell in the price of Illuminati. But I thought, you know what? I have 3 of them, and based on their odds of distribution, I actually have a pretty good chance at getting my hand on one of these goblins. And they've been doing 9 goblins raffles, I think 2 or 3 times a week over the past few months. So finally, on raffle number 85, I was losing hope. 85 out of 108. I won a goblin. Definitely not the same as when they were, 3 ETH or whatever, but they're still at 0.8 floor. So I was pretty pumped about that. That was a nice little win.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. Now I can make all these weird, creepy sounds and dress up like a goblin and go to events in New York. I'm part of the crowd, part of the club.
What are they at now?
The goblins?
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here. Illuminati I have pulled up here at 0.38. So that's, I mean, it's had its ups and downs. It got to over
0.78. Nice little airdrop there.
Yeah. So yeah, goblins. Is it 0.78 right now?
Yeah.
Goblin Town.
Oh my gob.
I don't know. Like, that seems to still be like a relatively active community. I still see like the weirdness and the weird ways that they type and stuff pop up on Twitter and whatnot too. So I don't know. I'm gonna hold it. I could just sell it. I guess that would be a nice little pay for my Christmas bonus, I guess. But whatever. I think I'm gonna hold. I don't see why these shouldn't have their moment too. In talking about those collections that had a moment and will likely get some kind of swell at some point, like I think that this is probably one of them too. I just never wanted to spend the amount of liquidity it would take to grab a couple of these. So, hey, I got some exposure now.
When, R2, will my Astro Boy NFTs have a moment? When?
What are those secrets of? Tales of
from the fragments of Tezuka Osamu. Which
Fragment,
is
right?
the famous artist behind the Astro Boy comic books, the Blackjack comic books, and they did an NFT drop. It was very hyped for a few hours, and since then I have been waiting for the hype to come back. I I keep hearing rumors that Japan is here. It's the Japanese NFTs. I'm like, this is the quintessential Japanese NFT. There's only 990 of them. What are these people doing?
I think that this is a long-term hold for you, my friend.
It is very long, very long.
You're meeting at the intersection of a couple of niches here that kind of, I think I'll have to hit off. One being more art than, anything. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows, God damn it.
It will be fun as time goes on and we really put some distance in between that, early, well, not even early, just 2021 in general, right? Mm-hmm. To see what is held on and what has completely died off, because we have so many collections, many of which had a moment, at least even to specific people, a lot of chatter in that time during the AlphaMint, like a lot of chat volume and whatnot, and just our exposure to all of these projects that were going on is wild. You're gonna have to make like some kind of list of like the quintessential 2021 projects and follow along.
Well, we know two that are gonna pump: Star Catchers and Little Lemons, because those ones already showed their hand. We're waiting for ETH to calm its goddamn tits here.
Hey,
you have to go ahead. ETH.
I mean,
running, baby.
That was an interesting point. I've been doing these little pixel art things every morning. And doing it on Twitter. So I'm giving myself a time constraint of 30 minutes to just do like some little pixel art thing as an exercise that, Ghost was one that kind of keyed me into it. But I made a lemon tree and kind of just threw it out there and said, where are the little lemon friends at? And man, a lot of them came out. That was cool.
Yeah, man.
It was cool to see that, like, even if it's they're not as loud or as vocal as they used to be, a lot of people still love them.
They don't have a leader. The thing is, they'll never not be lemons, but that's just one of those lingering communities. It's why you can see those pumps that you saw. And again, I just think you're waiting for coins to calm down and a bunch of projects that tip their hands, whether it's Oni, whether it's Star Catchers, or whether it's Little Lemons, like we just talked. There was like 15 of them that all told you we're the ones that are gonna pump. Just buy us and wait. We're the ones.
Yeah, if you look at those collections, or you look at a lot of collections, not even the ones we just mentioned, they are slowly, but very thinly, kind of creeping back down to where they were.
That's what it is. They were all at 0.02, 0.03. They're all back there now, but a lot of the chaff that was down there has been wiped out. You're just looking at traders who tried to play the pump, trying to recoup something, and on any type of real volume returning, that gets cleared out really quick. Those projects that got up to 0.1 on that last pump, they'll easily do 0.2 or 0.3 if actual NFT volume comes back. And, that's just a factor of coins chilling their tits.
We'll see. I mean, I feel like it's a win-win regardless, right? Like,
well, yeah, you do own a great...
The underlying denomination of all of this goes up. It's fine. It's not all doom and gloom like it used to be. All right, we are approaching an hour and a half. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No.
Sounds good. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Great turnout in the audience today. If you're out there listening, please make sure you join the conversation in chat there too. I always appreciate seeing everyone. I didn't give as many shout outs as I normally did, but I was watching and reading and I appreciate the chatter. If you're still hanging around and as we wrap up the show, do us a little bit of a solid and hit the like button on the YouTube thing. I kind of saved that spiel for the end of the show, but it is greatly appreciated as we try and grow our audience and our listeners and just continue to have more fun with the show. But on that note, that'll be episode 184 of the AM show in the books, Monday, January 23rd. You guys have a great day. You enjoy your afternoon. Hopefully Hopefully this crypto rally continues, or even just trade sideways for the next while, and we'll have lots of stuff to talk about. We'll be back live on Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, the usual time. I'm R2DGen. That's Free Market Capitalist. Love you guys. Free market, do the thing.
Good luck at the tables, DJ.